Listen to the following videos. Listen carefully what you hear, because I heard it last night and it really freaked me out. So listen and then we talk. Hey everyone, this is a personal experience that I'm reporting about, and it's quite funny because in my last video we were talking about the Cascadia subduction zone, and I said to you, well, I'm living on the Cascadia fault, so if that thing ever explodes, I can give you a live report from that. And guys, I have to tell you, yesterday that really freaked me out a little bit, and I have to tell you what happened. So I was downtown Vancouver, high up in a high rise at a friend's place where I'm often. So I'm sitting there. It was dark outside, 9 p.m.-ish, working for you guys, making a video, editing a video. And then I heard it was super loud and intense, like deep, dark boom, like a sonic boom, and way more intense than an explosion. But I was immediately looking out of the windows and see, did something explode? Because when I'm on the countryside, especially closer to the Canadian-US border, there's a lot of meth labs on the Canadian side that transport the drugs over to the other side, and you hear some of them blow up once in a while, right? And then you see it in the news. But this yesterday was way more intense, I can tell you. The only other thing that I had ever heard or felt like this was a few years back, also on my farm, a 4.2 earthquake. Wasn't really shaking much. You just heard bang, but it was more like a bang, right? And I saw my chandelier shaking just a little bit. But this yesterday, really, it was like intense. So I was thinking, is this an earthquake? So I was waiting for the shaking. I was really a little bit rattled, I have to say that. And I just wanted to take the dogs outside, and I'd have to take an elevator. And I decided, well, usually if that was an earthquake, you would feel the shaking right away, right? But really, I was like, what is this? So I waited an hour or so until I took the elevator. And then a little bit, I forgot about it. But then the other morning, I am looking what's going on social media, and I see in some areas, like not downtown, far on the countryside where my farm is, people saying, did you hear that boom? And I was thinking, yeah, that can't be the same thing that I heard, right? Because if that's the case, that must have been something, I don't know, substantial, right? So was it an earthquake? So I'm checking the news. My windows were rattling. My building felt like it's shaking. This was intense. This was way more intense than a jet breaking the sound barrier, for example. And then I checked places: North Vancouver, Vancouver, Burnaby, Chilliwack, Abbotsford, Langley, Richmond, Washington State in the US. So I'm like, this was something big. So what was it, right? Of course, if I'm reporting every day about these earthquake faults and the Cascadia fault and local faults, it makes you wonder what could have caused that. And then you start seeing the articles coming in with what people suspect that it was. We do not have clear clarification, but surveillance videos showed it was a flash of light coming with it as well. So people were suspecting that it was a meteor or a bolide. That's what it it's called. I'll explain to you in a second what a bolide is, but I want to show you some of the headlines. And this says like, here, fireball, sonic boom over Vancouver Tuesday evening, likely meteor. Or the other says, possible meteor lights up Vancouver skies with thunderous fireball. So since I was looking at my computer, I really didn't see the light. Unfortunately, I would have loved to see it. And it was cloudy, so probably not everyone was able to see it. But when these reports came out, then some reports said, well, we have to assess the damage. We have to send out specialists to see if it hit something. And I'm like, okay. First reports were like, oh, it's closely in my area where there's my animals. So I'm like, oh, I'm worried. Now they're saying it's more like North Vancouver and that it's very small. We're not talking about big in terms of a big crater. So probably the location where it hit was somewhere over there. So this is the Burnaby, Maple Ridge, and that's downtown Vancouver. So probably here. So I want to tell you what local scientists said, but this article here, it says experts say the boom heard and felt across the lower mainland Tuesday while the night sky lit up was caused by a meteor. And people in British Columbia, they said lots of social media postings to share reports of a bright fireball in the night sky over Vancouver and a house rattling sonic boom. And there's a guy, he's called Unger. He's a programs manager at the HR MacMillan Space Centre that is in Vancouver. He says all evidence right now suggests it was a bolide meteor event, which is, according to him, a large rock that hit our atmosphere at very high speed. And because of the size and the speed, it created a sonic boom over the skies around 9 p.m. So he says this boom was heard throughout most of the Fraser Valley, even down into Washington state. So Fraser Valley, that is the greater Vancouver area, from the mountains, North Shore Mountains, North Vancouver, Burnaby, Richmond, all the way towards the US border and into the state of Washington, right? So even in Washington, people saw the bright flashes, and I'm showing you the images. Some were caught on camera. And what Unger says is the meteorite, well, it's a rock from space, we know that, right? Likely landed somewhere in the North Shore Mountains, so thankfully not in farm area. And yeah, he says meteorites fall every day and most pose no danger to inhabitants. And he says, and that kind of strikes me, it's unusual for meteors to pass over metropolitan areas. I mean, it's not like meteors are some spaceships that choose their point of landing. So why is it unusual? Okay, because there's more empty space than urban areas, but you know, it's still random how it's coming out. And he refers to, he says the last truly dangerous meteor event took place over Chelyabinsk in Russia in 2013. And also there, he says it's not so much the impact when it hits the ground, it's actually this sonic boom that causes a lot of the damage. And in 2013, the sonic boom created a shock wave that blasted out some windows. And yeah, this is what it felt. I really felt the shock wave. And lots of people thought it was an earthquake, right? And it's kind of scary when you report in theory, and I have felt earthquakes, but that was, if that had been an earthquake, I mean, imagine guys, the big one hits. I don't even want to think about the sound that this would make if the Cascadia subduction zone ruptures. And now that they found something new in the Cascadia subduction zone, you have to watch the video in the end screen, they found fluids. And that's kind of like, so watch that. Let's get back to space. We've talked about space a lot with the interstellar object 3I Atlas, right? And now something's coming down right where I am. So What the Space Center also says, they have not heard any reports of damage from Tuesday night, and they think that the meteor likely broke apart into small rock before landing. But he says also it may take several days until astronomers can calculate the exact size of the meteor. And also the UBC, that's the University of British Columbia Department of Physics and Astronomy, says that also the initial evidence indicates that it was approximately, they say, not huge. It was broken up in pieces when it landed north of Coquitlam, several miles north of Coquitlam. So that puts it in the mountains. And they say if there are any fragments that survived coming to the ground, finding them will be extremely difficult in that wooded, mountainous, remote area. But what they say, and I think that makes sense, they say the scientific community is making a push to implement systems to detect early warning signs of bolide meteor events and what to do or what can mitigate damage. And he also says, and I think that is very, very true, he says, quote, "This is a reminder that we are basically a spaceship going through space. And in our solar system, there are billions of these objects. Now, most of them are small, but analyzing of their size, which size would be a threat to Earth, is something that we need to be aware of." And he encourages everyone to stay curious and research events like the one that just took place a few hours ago. And I don't know how to describe it, but since I'm here every day reporting about what's going on Earth and with meteors and potential comets like interstellar object 3I Atlas, although there's so many anomalies, it's really strange. I have a playlist about that if you want to learn more about that, about all the anomalies. But then you experience something like this live, so something's really coming down, right? It's real. It's kind of, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's kind of strange, and it makes you aware how much bigger the universe is than us here down on Earth. We're like a pile of ants, right? And something bigger is out there. And that was my experience, guys. I hope you found this interesting. If you live in that area or Washington or wherever, did you hear it? Did you see it? It was really crazy. So I experienced a lot when I'm downtown Vancouver. I reported about 2 earthquakes that I felt when I was sitting on my couch, and I felt like I'm being lifted up. So if you're high up in the towers, it feels different than when you're on the ground. And I guess it was the same with this sonic boom. So let me know your experience. Please give this video a like and a hype. And if you want to support the channel and want to fill me up with coffee, the link is in the description. Thank you for your supers. And hey, join my channel membership. Click the join button for behind the scene videos. So thanks for your support. Stay safe, be aware, look up, look down, and I see you in the next one. Check this out here. It's really, really crazy. Bye-bye.